my God. Did you hear? Shh. Allegedly. I cry a lot. I was crying so much yesterday because I kept looking at the Wendy Williams stuff, and it was like really, really upsetting me to see that, especially with, you know, my Mima having just died of dementia, and like that, I don't know, it's just hitting me extra hard with all these feelings. And I was struggling. That's why I was like, we should talk about this.
We should. So the documentary comes out today. I haven't watched it yet, for the Wendy Williams Where is Wendy Williams documentary. Now, according to what I'm reading, she executively produced it. So, but now you were telling me that she didn't know it was for a documentary.
That allegedly. And they said, I saw a news article that her conservator, I don't know, it's not her conservator, her like financial guardian is claiming that she was not aware that they were filming a documentary. The story said she thought she was filming something for her canceled podcast, because, you know, she was supposed to have a podcast launch right around the time she kind of fell off the face of the planet and got put into different programs like rehabilitation programs and mental health programs. So the podcast never came through, and they are claiming that that's what she believes she was filming for. And part of their evidence for that is that there is a clip of Wendy talking to Black China, and she's not wearing her wig. And, you know, they said Wendy would literally never talk in front of camera without wearing a wig.
Motherly, kind way. That's why I love you so much. Because even when I was going through my darkest times, like, you never used that against me. You know what I mean? And that's how you know that the love is, like, genuine. And it's always going to be there. You know, and I'm always be here for you, like, straight up.
Well, I guess the judge denied the thing, because the Guardian, Sabrina Morrissey, she did file a lawsuit to stop it, and they denied it. So I guess it's going to be shown. And when it does get aired, we're going to talk about that later. But because there's a lot of little things. There's a lot of little things about Wendy that makes the general public worried, because we haven't seen her for a long time. She's battled with a lot of things. Wells Fargo took over her money. They froze her account, and they appointed her some kind of financial guardian. Her family has not been in contact with her like they should be.
They can't get in contact with her, is what they're saying. It's not that they're just like not calling, it's that they can't reach her. That's what they are all claiming. And like, she's put away somewhere, in a facility somewhere. I'm not clear on what kind of facility it is, if it's a rehab facility, because they all say she's an alcoholic, or if it's some kind of healthcare facility, because, as you know, this week it came out that she's been diagnosed with dementia,
frontotemporal dementia, and aphasia.
Which is what Bruce Willis has, and that is why she tends to forget words or not be able to communicate correctly, because that's what aphasia does, is it sort of takes away your ability to communicate what's in your brain.
Well, I that hurts my heart if that's true, and everything that she's like struggled and gone through. It also makes me think another way, a little conspiracy way, because a lot of the people who talk to us and follow us, you know, we compare it to another situation, and there's a saying, and that I said in one of my videos, that is a saying that goes around: isolate, medicate, and drain or take the estate. They isolate you from your family and your friends. They get control over you. They medicate you heavily. Some of that medication and alcohol can do sufficient damage to lead to other problems like this dementia and aphasia.
Yeah.
And then whatever's money's left of hers is what greed, thousands and thousands and thousands of years, what greed will do.
But the question, you know, I think you're comparing it to like the Britney Spears situation.
Well, yeah.
Just because of, you know, how we got started in pop culture. But the thing is, with the Wendy Williams situation, it's completely different because, A, there does not seem to be a conservatorship of her person. Britney had a conservatorship over her finances and of her person. It seems that Wendy just has a financial guardianship. And then the second part of that is that with Britney, it was her family that was in charge of the conservatorship of the person, and they were benefiting monetarily, allegedly. But in this case, Wendy's family can't even reach her. They don't have access to her or her money. They would like to. The son has spoken out quite a bit, saying that he doesn't trust the financial conservator, Sabrina. That he doesn't believe she's acting with good interest towards his mother, but they have no say or control. So my thing is like, who's behind this, and is it necessary or not? I don't know. I don't have enough information.
Like, how does it get to that point where you have no family whatsoever and there's, I wouldn't say literal strangers, but people who've like weaseled their way in and taken control and not a direct family member, you know?
I don't know. I mean, we've seen with the Britney case that having a family member in control might not be the best thing. But I don't know. I think everything is such a case-by-case basis. It was so different with Britney because they put on paper that she had dementia. But by all accounts that we've ever been able to find, she certainly did not have dementia. But Wendy, I don't know. I think she really might.
Well, we're going to see some signs of that when we watch this documentary that's on Lifetime, and find out exactly what, because there was a portion in the car ride where they were saying, have you ever even got that checked out? And she kind of looked to the side and she was like, I don't know, like, no. So if it is true and it's, it's just very heartbreaking, I would want her, well, for my opinion, I would want her to be around family that actually cares about her and her well-being than what I call strangers and guardians and people looking over her finances and things like that. She needs, if this is the case, and that's going to be a thing that she needs people close and family close. And from what I could see on those previews, they definitely care and love her
It definitely
family.
seems that way.
It does.
And I don't think, they're not trying to get control of Wendy and make her work to make more money like they did with Britney. I hate to keep comparing, but I have to, because this is like the knowledge base that I have about conservatorships is largely based around Britney's trial. Her son, Kevin Jr., he's been on record saying, I feel like they want her to work and make more money, and I don't want that for her. I think enough is enough. She needs to just get better. So it feels like a really different approach and situation for me.
Just remind me never to like get famous or make a bunch of money, because I honestly think the moment you hit any kind of like monetary value, then all the leeches and the bull crap comes out. I don't want to
Well, it's like you've heard about the lottery winner curse, right?
I don't want to win. I mean, I do, but I wouldn't tell a soul.
Even if you didn't, but you've heard about the curse of that, right? Pretty much everyone who ever wins, like it ends up in ruin for them. Their life never gets put back together.
Well, giving I would say a normal person a big chunk of money, not just a couple thousand, we're talking millions here, and you give it to these people, okay, who've never had to deal with that sort of money in their life. And they recommend that you go as soon as you win to like go seek a financial advisor to like help you. But if you're not, and you're just blowing it on a big ass house, and you're blowing it on cars, and you're blowing it on vacations, and you're giving it away, and people are coming out of the woodwork, you could end up losing everything, which is 99% of the time what happens, what I've seen and observed.
Yeah.
And then you're back to nothing if you don't. I hate to be all like investing and putting it in the bank and earning interest and not buying such a big ass house, because you know what? You may buy this big ass house right now, but you know what's going to happen in the next 10 years? You got to pay the taxes on that big house. You got to you got to pay all the stuff that comes along with that house.
Yeah, well, they don't, those houses have really big high bills too, and electricity, gas, whatever, it's a lot. It's more than people think.
I would here's what after traveling last fall and seeing all the beautiful things I saw in the short 2 weeks I was in the UK, I would rather get just a simple house where everybody has their own space, at least 2 bathrooms, a nice backyard with a deck, somewhere we can cook and grill out.
A big deck you could just sit on all night.
Yeah, that's exactly. And I'd rather use it to invest in the future and go travel. and not
Yeah.
have a big ass house to maintain because that's hard to clean.
Well, if you have, that level of money, you pay somebody to clean it. That's what I think.
That's true, but I would just rather have a simple, decent house, not a tiny house, just a simple house. Everybody gets their own bedroom.
Yeah.
And we have a nice little space for, events if we want to have people over. But as far as like having a giant, there's no point.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I have champagne taste. I don't want like
Do
a
you?
mansion like they have. I don't need a multi-million-dollar mansion, but I would certainly
Okay.
be very comfortable in a $1 million house, which in my area actually isn't as crazy as you might think. A $1 million
I will
house
go
in
to your
Atlanta
house.
is just a really, really, really nice house. It's not necessarily like the Biltmore Estates, you know?
No, I know, but like, okay, I'll have my normal, like, simple house. You can have your champagne taste house, and I'll come over to your house for like the oohs and the ahs. If you want to lay back and
Yeah.
on my deck and have a
I
good
always want to get on
time.
your deck.
Yep. Then
I just want to
come to my
swim in
house.
your deck. Okay, well, I think, we've probably transitioned off of Wendy Williams, but we will be covering that. The 2-part documentary series comes out, I think, probably right now while we're filming. The first part is coming out, and the second part will be coming out the day after we film. So we will put together a special episode on that. Maybe even not wait 2 weeks for it. We'll see how our schedules line up, but that will definitely be on the docket.
We'll get it. We'll get there. But I don't even think we did introductions. So hello,
We didn't.
guys. Thank you for tuning in this past month and a half as we, tread through this podcast that we haven't really found our niche per se. Niche, is it niche?
It's niche.
It's niche. I like to say niche. It's fine.
But I
Our
like niche because it rhymes with bitch. So we can
Bitch.
say whatever we want. We haven't found our niche, bitch.
But it's just two friends getting together, talking about things like hot topics with, Wendy Williams. How you doing?
How you
I don't ever
doing?
want to define us by anything. We're just gonna one day we may just talk about politics. It's gonna be very rare, but we probably won't. But I'm just saying, you just never know with us.
We might talk about
potpourri.
bleaching assholes. It's
I
just
would
whatever's
never
on our
do,
mind.
but it's okay.
Me
If
either,
you have
girl.
to bleach it, who the freak is getting that close to it?
I don't want anybody up in my...
Bleach it. To bleach your butthole.
Not in my Patrick Star. Stay out.
No. Have you ever seen people who took molds of their chocolate starfish and sent it as a gift, like for Valentine's Day, like the shape of their anus? No, I'm serious. Yeah.
Huh. No, I didn't know that was a thing.
Anyway.
I feel like the vagina makes more sense to me for some reason, but I guess, different people like different things. And
Well,
that's cool.
that's a lot
well,
of
and
chocolate.
also if you're talking about like different sexualities and things like that, I guess that makes sense.
No, it was just like a thing, just to mold your butthole.
Well, my
Seriously.
poor husband is in a butthole desert and he's going to stay there.
All right. Welcome to allegedly Allyn and Ash. My name is Ashlyn, and my lovely, lovely friend over here
I'm
is
Allyn.
Allyn. And we are ready to talk about season 6 of Love is Blind. It is my guilty pleasure, unfortunately.
Me too. Have you been watching this show since season 1?
Yes, there was one season I missed, but I've been watching it throughout the course of these seasons. Yes.
I think you said you missed last season, right?
Yes.
You didn't miss much. I hated that season, so you're still in the loop as far as I'm concerned.
Okay, that's good.
I
But
thought this season was going to be super good based on the first few episodes, but now, god damn it, y'all letting me down so bad.
they are holding on by a thread. It's really bad. They're grasping for any kind of drama that can happen. This one just wasn't. This one.
Was their psychological screener on vacation for casting? Were they just on vacation, or were they like distracted? Did they have a life crisis going on? Because have you been hearing about all of the things that are coming out about these cast members?
So I am hearing that Jeremy is the one that is with Laura, right? Jeremy and
Yes.
Laura. I've heard that Jeremy was previously engaged before he came on here.
You guys, the tea is piping fucking hot tonight because allegedly Jeremy applied to be on Love is Blind season 6 while he was engaged. The ex-fiance's mom just posted this photo in a Facebook group. There's Jeremy, there's the ex-fiance, and there's the ring. Mom then goes on to give more details and say He just moved out at the end of 2022. They filmed February or March in 2023. They had just sold their home.
The woman he was engaged to has a son. They're it's not his son. She has a son, and they were close, and it was a mere like week or two.
10
right?
days. 10
Okay.
days they broke up before he went on the show, which means he absolutely was in casting while still with her, because it takes months to get this casting stuff going. He must have applied for the show and been through interviews while still fucking engaged.
So you're telling me that he's living this lie and having this family thing, and she's all good to go, and they're taking pictures and being happy, and he's sitting there doing this behind her back, and even just to break up 10 days before the filming.
Yeah.
How can you go and be honest and open with new people? Is half of them already taken or something? Because that's just...
I don't know. Like, these men are trash. All of them, I swear to God. And even the ones I was rooting for, trash. They one by one have just let me down.
I'm very mad at Kenneth.
I know, but maybe we should go like couple by couple. What do you think?
Okay, let's go couple by couple.
We're already on Jeremy and Laura, so we might
Okay.
as well just start there. My personal take on them from the beginning, I wasn't understanding it. I felt like their chemistry was nowhere to be seen. And of course, he was in a love triangle with her and a girl called Sarah Ann.
Sarah Ann.
Right.
Which I thought he was feeling her more, so it makes no sense to me why he picked Laura, because she was already having an issue with some of his clothing, Hawaiian shirts, before they even got out of the pots.
That bitch is so hung up on these Hawaiian shirts. She brings it up in every argument. She's like, you cheated on me last night? Well, you know what? You fucking hate your Hawaiian shirts.
She feels like a little bit mothering and smothering to me, the way she talks to him, like it's like a mother way. And I think he got over it real quick. I think he was in it for a second when they were in Punta Cana, and then they came back. And didn't Sarah DM him?
Sarah Ann DM'd him, and he, to his credit, he did immediately show it to Laura and say, look, I just got this message. But unfortunately, he hearted the message because he was, in his mind, he says, just trying to be like, I acknowledged it, but I'm not saying anything. I'm saying, like, thanks for the message. And she was like, yeah, well, you should have thumbs up, because a heart was just blah, 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 blah. So that already started tension with them. And you would think that would be enough.
But then he went out to the bar.
Or did he? We don't know. I'm not even sure he went to a bar.
Here's what I'm seeing. So he went to a bar, and he didn't get back home until 5 a.m. And Laura knew that where he was and how long he'd been out, right? But here's what I'm hearing. He left his phone in the car by the bar, okay, to look like, but then somehow got down south where Sarah Ann's place is, but he had his Apple Watch on, and that's how Laura knew why he was at the location. That is what I'm reading. That's what I'm seeing. That's the Apple Watch.
My God. That makes so much sense, because I was confused why. So for anybody who doesn't understand, he said he was on the way to a karaoke bar, and then he got a call and was told that Sarah Ann was going to be at the bar that they were going to, and that they were shifting to a different bar. And then he went there and decided to talk to her one-on-one. They went outside in the parking lot, allegedly stayed there until 5 a.m. and he came home. And when Laura was bringing all this stuff up, he was he was like, yeah, but I was honest with you. I told you immediately, and I shared my location with you, so you knew I was there the whole time. And so he thought he had it ironclad. He was like, you saw where I was, you can trust me because I shared my location. And if you're right, which would make so much sense, he like maybe hopped in her car, went with her to her place, left his phone there to be like, my location's being shared, I'm covered. But he forgot his watch was updating, and it updated that he went to the other side of town where she lives. Caught in a lie.
Yep. And when Laura let him tell all his lies, and she says, no, I know exactly where you were because Sarah Ann lives at that area, and he kind of just said, I don't want to talk about it right now.
That was the funniest thing to say at that moment. Like, what do you mean you don't want to talk about it?
So I don't know if they're gonna show up to the altar or work this out because
She dumped him.
how do you know that?
Because she said. I mean, because basically she said it and then we never saw them again. Also in the previews, they are not in them. I guarantee you they broke up.
Don't they still have to show up or no?
No, so I think that's a misnomer. A lot of people seem to think
about that.
Some people seem to think that like if you come out of the pods engaged, that you are like contractually obligated to make it to the aisle, even if you decide early on you don't want to follow through. But that is not true. They can quit at any time. And I think we're going to see that with another couple that also broke up in the very last episode that we saw, which we can get to. But
yeah,
they don't have to. I think the reason that comes up is because most people on this show are clout chasing whores, and they just want to make it to the end because they want as much screen time as possible. Everybody knows the longer you stay on screen, the more followers, blah, blah, blah. So, but they cannot contractually obligate them to like pretend to date up until the wedding.
Okay.
So,
well, then cheers for her for leaving as soon as she caught him that. But I want to, you know what's weird? What if Love is Blind takes a turn and like say the two couples that decided to get engaged break up? What if they can pick their second? Would that be?
We saw, okay, so you haven't seen last season, so this is the one thing that you've missed. That happened last season.
Oh,
I won't give you any explanations on
who. You can tell me.
Well, I can't even remember the guy's name. Yeah, I can. It was Zach and Bliss is a couple. They're now married. They're actually expecting their first child in the next few months. I just saw a beautiful video of like a pregnancy video of hers, and I was like, oh, my heart. But yeah, Zach actually left the pods engaged to another girl I cannot remember the name of. But he was in a love triangle with that girl and with Bliss. And Bliss was like super head over heels with him. And he got to wherever they went last year, which maybe Mexico, and realized he made a mistake and that the chemistry was wrong. And he was like, I wish I had chosen Bliss. Bliss was my person. I fucked up. So then they broke up in Mexico or whatever. I think they even left early. He went back to their city and met up with Bliss and was like, will you marry me? And I was like, she's not going to say yes, but she did. And they got married and they're super happy.
Okay, now I have to watch season 5. So
honestly, one of the only storylines that was good in that whole season.
Damn.
So sorry for the spoilers, but it is possible. So it is possible that Jeremy could meet up with Sarah Ann and then they decide to get married in the show. The show seems to have allowed it in the past.
Yeah. I mean, whatever continues to be good drama for the fellow peasants of the world. Hi, I'm a peasant.
Me too. I'm such a drama rubbernecker. I want to see it. I'm like, yeah, oh, this is dirty. Show me more.
So the next couple I want to talk about is Kenneth and Brittany.
I'm so disappointed, Ash. That was the couple I was rooting for from the beginning.
I was too. Spoiler alert.
I know. Should we just give a little bit of who they are real quick? Because they're the youngest couple on the show. They're both like 25 years old. Kenneth is a elementary school
principal?
He's a principal and a pastor, and he is a black man, which is important for this story. And then Brittany, I cannot remember what she does, but she's 25. She's white. She's sweet as pie. And there you go. Set the scene. Too. She's so cute. I love her. And I thought they were the best match of all the pods. I was like, this is my couple. They're going to make it.
Well, they had a lot to like a lot of similar things that they believed in and things like that. So it just didn't when they got to Punta Cana. So they already explained in the pods when they were talking. She asked what race he was, or he asked what race she was. She's like, I'm assuming you're black, and he's like, I'm assuming you're white, and they're like, yeah. So they knew what color each of them were, and they still decided to continue talking because she said that wasn't a factor for her at all. That's not. So they meet, and everything's fine. And what do you think the turning point was when he changed his mind? Because I think it's when he talked to AD, which is another woman in the show that is matched with Clay. We'll get into her, but she had a conversation when they were all on the beach together about she might have planted something in his head that says, you know that you're going to have mixed babies. You know how hard it is for, and I think that she may have scared him a little because listen, men
Yeah.
get scared real quick.
Well, what she actually said was, "Are you sure that Brittany is equipped to raise black children?" And I mean, that is a really important question. And I feel exactly the same way as you. I think that this is when things shifted for them as well. That's exactly what I think. It is an important question and a very important discussion. So I'm not trying to say like, oh, fuck you for bringing that up. No, it's a good question. It's something to think about before entering this marriage, for sure. But the thing is, Kenneth and Brittany had a direct conversation about it in which he relayed it to her. And I thought her answers were totally supportive and beautiful. And like, I mean, listen, and this is from a white girl's perspective. So anybody feel free to come at me with a different perspective and like educate me on what I'm missing here. But to me, I felt like she had good answers. And it also seemed that he was satisfied with her answers as well.
But the moment they got into the apartment,
Once he got his phone back.
that
The
hurt
real
me
love
so
story
much
in
to
Love is
watch.
Blind season 6 is between Kenneth and his fucking phone. He's in
Yeah.
love with that fucking phone. Could not stand to be away from it for 2 seconds.
So I'm trying to catch up, right? I'm watching all this and I'm paying attention, but I'm also kind of scrolling through my phone like Kenneth was. And all of a sudden, spoiler alert, I see him say, basically, we're just not right for each other, no beef, right? I'm like, wait a second. Did he just leave her? He left her, and I had to rewind to see what I missed because I thought that they were fine, even though she was giving him so much, had so much patience with him on his phone.
Oh my God.
She's trying to put things together and ask where you want this, where you want that. It wasn't even
She's
what?
nesting.
Yeah.
She was nesting in their little love nest, and he wouldn't even look at her, or he was like not even answering her when she would say like, "Hey, do you have a preference on the side of dresser you want to be in, side of the bathroom?" He was He iced her out the moment they got home, and then she sensed it and came to him in a very mature manner. For being the youngest couple on the show, I think Brittany is like one of the most mature women on the show, and she came to him and said, "Hey, you know what? These are my needs, and this is what I feel like we might be missing right now in our relationship. I want to crave you the way I felt like I craved you in the pods, and I'm very physical touch is very important to me, and I feel like I'm not getting that from you, and that you're not paying attention to me, basically." And then he basically looked at her, gaslit the shit out of her, and said, "Oh, you don't crave me? This will never work." I was like, that's not what she said.
Now we don't know if, and he literally texts his friend or calls his friend, says, "Yeah, come, I'll be there soon," leaving her crying like
he
that.
had a friend waiting to come pick him up, like ridiculous.
I don't know if they're gonna even work through what they're going to either.
He wanted out. He wanted out. I mean, this man, she said, "I wanted physical touch from you." And he said, "Well, bitch, I came home and touched you last night and you wanted nothing to do with it." And she's like, "Yeah, it was 1:30 in the morning. I had already been sound asleep for hours. I had to get up at 5 a.m. Not only did you come in way late, you turned every light on in the room and woke me up when I have an early morning." And he was just like, "Well, don't you want physical touch from me? See, you don't actually want it. You actually don't want it." You know, I'm like, what? The gaslighting was insane.
I was so rooting for them too. I was so rooting for them as a couple, but that's
I was too, because all their conversations in the pod, like you said, like all of their values seemed really well aligned. They have a very similar background in terms of their religion and their morals and what they think is right and wrong and like what they want in a marriage and a relationship. They seemed really aligned. It was a shock to me that they were so not aligned.
yeah. I want to skim over one of the ones that are the least dramatic, and that is Johnny and Amy.
Yeah.
Because you almost forgot who I was talking about.
I know. It's like,
You have the picture up here. They are so sweet. They haven't fought. They are all over each other. The only issue with them, the only drama is not having a kid of like quickly. He doesn't want to have a kid quickly. He wants to like go travel and stuff. She doesn't want to be on birth control right now.
No,
So
the only
she's
drama with them is birth control in
yeah,
general.
that's it. They're talking about how they're gonna use effective birth control and talking about adult things like vasectomies and birth control and that's it. And they
Wait,
didn't fight.
But this actually fucking drove me nuts. Like, I was screaming the last couple of episodes. I was like, what is wrong with you fuckheads? Like, they're sitting here talking about we can't have sex because she's not on birth control and this is really a deal breaker for me and blah blah blah. And I'm like, why has the word condom never come up? Y'all talked about vasectomies before you talked about condoms.
Have they not slept together at all?
No.
Are they not going to sleep together at all because neither one of them have chosen a form of birth control?
But why am I crazy? Like, why are they pretending like condoms don't exist?
I don't know.
I brought this up to one of our other friends, and she said that she thought they addressed it, but that there was something he said that was like condoms weren't enough. He needed 2 different forms. And that leads me to believe, like, just in my gut, I'm like, this man accidentally got a girl pregnant before, and he was using a condom, and he's like trying not to repeat that mistake or something. He's obviously, because he was so wrapped up in it, I was like, there's something more here. He was wrapped up in it twice for double protection.
I don't know. They're just boring to me. They're so cute together. I don't know if that's going to be the end all, but I do think they'll show up on the altar together. But I don't know if, I think, excuse me, if they're going to like say yes. I think they'll show up at the altar. I don't know if they're both going to say yes.
I think she'll say yes. I'm like almost 100% sure she'll say yes. But I think he will too. And the reason is when his family met her, they fell in love with her so fast. And I think that has a really big impact on the decisions that get made in these scenarios. Like, because he's obviously really close with his family, and he's surrounded in women in his family too. He had like 2 sisters and his mom, and the fact that like his sisters were basically falling over. They said, I want to marry her. Please marry me. Yeah. I think that's going to push them through.
Yeah.
That's
always good.
My vote.
Well, it's good when the family likes your significant other. If not, it can cause a whole lot of problems down the road or stop everything altogether. So that's a plus. But they really haven't been the, star of the show. I think we have. I don't want to skip over Clay and AD.
So before we start a new couple, wrap out any thoughts on. I already forgot their names. Amy and Johnny.
Ginny. Bartholomew.
We'll just call him Jamie.
Okay.
The most forgettable, but in that show, this is a good thing. You want to be forgettable because otherwise you are a fucking freak show.
Yeah. So our next contestant on The Price is Right is Clay and AD.
Oh, so what you meant was our contestant on The Love Is Wrong.
I believe that she had really strong feelings for, what was his
Matthew.
freaking name? Matthew. The hardest shell to crack was, and she was totally all in. She was.
But that man was playing games and saying what women wanted to hear. And she fell for it hook, line, and sinker, which immediately told me AD is not ready for this. Like, she's not emotionally matured enough to be able to sort out these men because he was all red flags all the time.
Well, I was almost, in the very first, you said to me in our chat, there was somebody who just like triggered you the wrong way. And the first episode I was watching, I was like, is it Matthew? And you're like, yes. So here I am watching him walk out on people, being completely like a douche to everybody. And then finally he and AD start talking, and then my wall starts getting let down because I'm like, oh, maybe he just was a little tough little asshole cookie or something. But then we find out that he was also telling another girl in the pods named Amber. But you know what's funny? I'm sure there might be some clips that come out later on, maybe when they do a Love is Blind reunion. They did not show any interactions between him and Amber. No. But she said to AD, he's literally said this, like the same thing. He said this to me. If you walk out, I'll walk out and we'll go be together. He was
He
saying
asked
this.
about the asking permission of the father
Yes.
to ask them to marry him or whatever.
And it wasn't until, he left and Amber left because they both left. Not at
Yeah.
the same time, but that's when her eyes got set back on Clay, who we know in the past she always picks the same guys, and the same guys she picks are like Clay. Because he was seriously not wanting to meet or choose her until he heard what she looked like.
Yeah, he was trying to demand of her to tell him what she looked like, to give him a general idea of like what her body looked like, especially because he said, for me it's about the lips and the booty and I have to have that. And she rightfully, this was her only correct move. I feel like she was turned off by that, and that is why she kind of shifted over to Matthew a little harder. She came out of that and into this thing with Matthew where he was telling her everything that she wanted to hear. And Clay just basically shit all over her in terms of her, making her feel like she was an object. But it was bad timing, honestly.
I from Clay's previous actions and him being the little player that he is, and he's admitted to it. I don't know if having these deep conversations with AD and being here, because I think as soon as he saw her, of course, she was his physical type. I
She
don't
has
know
an
how
amazing body. Can we just
my
say
God,
that?
she said what did she say? I could applaud her for this. I don't eat meaningless calories or something.
Yeah, she keeps it tight. She keeps it tight. But and she has an amazing body. She was like a professional cheerleader and dancer for a
Yes.
while. So like obviously in Jimmy's words, which we'll get to him later, but she's stacked.
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 She's stacked.
She looks great. I mean, he had nothing to worry about, but yeah. But then later when they actually ended up getting engaged and they went to Punta Cana, I think it was then, or was it earlier? You correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it was in Punta Cana. He basically told her like, I'll never let you gain weight. Like, even if you're pregnant, I'm going to be forcing you into the gym every day.
Oh yeah. That was after they met. Yeah.
I would have.
She's like, you don't say it like that. What if I get pregnant? He's like, well, they're having these. I'll try to come up with a nicer way to tell you. Excuse me?
There's no nice way to
That's
tell
a
your
red
pregnant
flag
wife
there,
you're fat,
too.
go to the gym. Huge. I mean, that's a red curtain. Like, are you kidding? This man is only red flags. Like, I cannot find one good thing about him. But you know how he got her? I went back and watched the first 2 episodes again because I knew we were going to talk about this. And I wanted to see if I noticed things that I didn't notice the first go round. And I noticed with AD, the moment he got her was when he said something kind of vulnerable to her. He was like, oh, I'm so glad to hear that you're responding to me because I was worried that I was going to come in here and without my looks, nobody would love me. And I was like, that's exactly how Matthew got her, with that like sensitive seeming little thing. And I was like, he got her right then. And I don't even think that he was being genuine in that moment.
We're gonna see. I don't. It's probably just pure sexual chemistry between them right now because any kind of hard conversation they have, she's looking mighty offended or mighty kind of ticked off at what he's saying and how he's saying it. I think she thinks she might have chosen wrong,
Who else was she going to choose? Because she couldn't have chosen Matthew.
Well, then she could have. Well, then they wouldn't be on the show, I guess. Sometimes I feel like they just pick because they want to go on a trip.
That's what I was going to say. AD seems to me like she was going to pick someone regardless of whether they were right or not. She was like, I'm coming in here. I'm picking someone. I'm leaving with someone. I don't care who it is.
Yeah, because they only have a week, right? A week in the pods.
Something
to
like
find
that.
somebody to marry, like 5 days or something like that.
Yeah,
So you have a very short time to pick somebody. So it was, and since Matthew bolted, she had to go back and get to 80 so they could continue.
yeah, she was ready to leave with Matthew because he was just feeding her some bullshit that anybody else with a brain could have seen was bullshit. I'm sorry. Like, I think they were trying to edit it all nice to seem nice, but like all of it was sus. And then when Matthew started spouting off about like America loves an underdog story, America's watching, America this, America that, I was like, oh, he thinks he's the fucking main ass character on this show. And he thinks he came in on, he's playing a game. He gave his game away right there. He came in, he said, I'm going to pretend that I'm this tough nut to crack. And then I'm going to find the woman, except he fucked up and found 2 women that are like, oh, I can change him. I can crack him. I cracked him. I'm special. Yeah. And then I'm going to capitalize on that shit. But he fucked up because he did it to 2 instead of 1. If he had just stuck to his plan and done it to 1, he would have been at the end of the show. Mm-hmm. Asshole. I hate that man. And when you said I was triggered, I want to explain what happened. I fell asleep after watching like 1.5 or 2 episodes that first night they came out. I fell asleep watching it, and I went into a fucking dream about my abusive ex-boyfriend that reminded me of this guy. Like, there's just certain, I can't even explain why. It was just an energetic thing. And I was like, why am I dreaming about this man? I have not seen this man in like 13 years. You know what I'm saying? Like, ugh, gross. That's how I knew. I was like, this was before he messed up and did the thing with the 2 women. I was like already feeling it. I was like, red flag, red flag.
Well, do you think that AD and Clay are going to say yes at the altar?
No. Do you?
I think they're both going to say no.
Yeah.
He's not ready. He doesn't even know what a marriage looks like, how a marriage works, what happens at a marriage. And seems like she has a good head on her shoulders. I think so. I think she fell into the I think she's spontaneous and spunky and smart. And I think she did really want someone in there, and maybe she might have settled for Clay because she wants to continue on the journey, right? So I just don't think he's intellectually and spiritually and stuff on her level. And he's got a lot of growing and learning to do.
I agree with that, but I also think she is a little desperate too.
Maybe.
I think, though, her desperation may be waning. I feel like she was a little more desperate in the pods than she is out of the pods now that reality has really hit her. But I do think that desperation could cause unexpected turnout. You know what I mean? Yeah. You never know when somebody has desperation behind them, like what they're really going to do. Because their motivation is different than like my motivation or something, you know?
We have to talk about Jimmy and Chelsea now.
Girl, that couple, I could not get them off of my head, even from the beginning. Let's first explain the pods, because there's a love star that was going on. That's what Trevor called it, a love star.
Yep. So we have, go ahead.
Oh, okay. So we have Jimmy, who I call a living, breathing Bob's Burger caricature. Him and his mom jeans. We have this man whose dick must be fire because every single woman seems to want him. But he was talking to both Chelsea, a flight attendant, and Jess, a single mother. Now, Chelsea and Jess both were hot and heavy with Jimmy, but Chelsea also had another love interest named Trevor. Who I will lovingly call Meathead Mullet Man. And he and Jimmy told her that they loved her on the same fucking day, which is insane. But Jimmy and Jess really seemed like they were going to be it. I thought the whole time they're leaving this together. And she told Jimmy that she had a 10-year-old daughter named Autumn. And he basically just froze up after that and cut her out, and then told Chelsea he loved her and was like, this is the easier option. But you can talk about the amazing speech.
You want to know why he chose Chelsea?
I know.
He had such a good connection with Jessica until she said, I have a 10-year-old daughter and she's my life and I hope that's okay with you. And he got all pissed off and like, why didn't you tell me in the beginning? She's like, I didn't want to tell you right away. She's like, that's not all of me. That's a part of me. I want you to get to know me. And the moment, I think that when the girls are back in the, girls area and stuff, you're hearing chitter chatter. So I've heard a lot of people say on TikTok and just in general, like Chelsea wanted to one up Jessica, right? Chelsea wanted to get the man because Jessica's a 10. I'm sorry. She's
Jessica's a 12 out of 10. Jesus Christ.
She's more than that.
Genuinely the most beautiful contestant I've ever seen on the show, period.
Yeah. So Chelsea's in the pod. She's talking to Jimmy. She's laying on the floor. They start talking about looks, which I don't understand. If this is called Love is Blind, why are you talking about who or what celebrity you look like? So she gets all coy and stuff. I don't know who she is. It's MGK's life or something like that. And she says she looks like Megan Fox. Now, granted,
And by the way, she brought that conversation up. I think that's important
did.
to your point. She said to him, does anybody ever tell you that you look like a celebrity? Oh, they tell me. Like, she brought that up.
And his little ding-a-ling went,
His face went like that, too. He went, you look like Megan Fox. Marry me now. I'm pretty sure he said... Yeah, she totally played dirty with that. And you know who didn't bring up looks? Jess, the most beautiful woman in the pods, never brought it up. And because that is a confident woman.
Yeah. Do you listen? I'm gonna send this to you before because we have to put this in the podcast because there is a TikTok video and this girl is using a puppet, like a little doll, and she's got like a little frog, and she's talking, this is Jimmy and this is Chelsea when they meet each other for the first time. And this is, and she does the little T-Rex run with the frog, and then she takes this like doll boy thing, and they're like, this is him, and this is him looking at the camera and smiling at the camera, like, look, you guys knew. Like, I'm not saying she's unfortunate looking. She's just
beautiful.
She's beautiful, but it's like he knew that he effed up because he was expecting Megan Fox.
Yeah, well, and then there's even more to that because, first of all, they called that episode She Lied to Me. And that was his line saying, Chelsea lied to me about looking like Megan Fox. It was clear to anybody watching that shifted his favor toward Chelsea. And then after Chelsea tells him, I look like Megan Fox, and she also tells him I was married, and he goes, gosh, this is the second bad news I've gotten in one fucking day. And Chelsea ran off crying because she felt like he didn't receive it well. This was following Jess telling him that she had a kid. He comes back and meets with Jess again and basically breaks up with her, right? And and then this is when Jess decides to let him know how fucking hot she is. And she stands up there and she says, well, first of all, she called him out and said, you know what? I get it. You're not used to a complicated woman. You don't want a woman who questions you or makes you think. You want the easy option. You want somebody who's just going to go with whatever you say. And I'm not that girl. You're right. That's not going to be me. And she said, when you see me, you are going to choke. You are going to need your EpiPen to open your airways when you see what you missed out on.
That line needs to be on a t-shirt.
Get your EpiPens, because and it is true. It's true. If he is that wrapped up on looks, he's absolutely going to be like that.
I can't wait till they see each other.
Yeah, and where we are now, he has seen her on Instagram.
Yeah.
I wish he had us spoiled.
Not in person, though. Like, when I was watching the last few episodes, they show them all together, and he looks over, and then I'm expecting these 3 episodes that were just to be released that they're going to show him and her interacting. And I'm like, wah, 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 because here I watched these 3 boring-ass episodes.
Yeah.
Of this shit going on. But, there's one thing okay, this is my opinion. I can't stand Chelsea and her whining. She doubts herself so much because she should embrace her beauty, okay? What I see is she was very self-conscious because of Jessica. She's got in her mind, it's Jessica, Jessica, Jessica. So after he picked her, she keeps second guessing. Are you sure you love me? Is that it? And he said, you have really nice teeth. He said she had really nice teeth.
Yeah.
She's like, are you okay? What's wrong? I've said I love you and you haven't said I love me. You haven't kissed me today and you haven't validated me today. Like, she whines. And he even said in one of the last episodes, you're very clinging. And she got upset at that.
I'm going to stick up for Chelsea here. I know that's how you feel. And I get why you feel that. She is definitely giving off insecurity. She is not secure with herself. That's obvious. No. But when I rewatched those first 2 episodes, like I said I did, I was picking up on something with Jimmy. Jimmy in the pods was fucking sweet talking these women down. Like, he was like, I want to marry you today. You're amazing. Like, he was showering them like almost too much with like love bombs, and made both of them feel really fucking special. So I kind of understand why Chelsea, she has now left the pods where he was being extremely forward with both her and Jess. And now that seems to stop, right? He stopped a behavior that was the foundation of their relationship. And now she's like, well, why? Why are you not showering me with that kind of affection that you were in the pods? The only thing that's different is you can see me now and you can touch me. So it must be because you're not admitting that you're not as attracted to me. You don't want to say it. And I have to say, I agree with her. I think it's true. I think Jimmy is not admitting. She's beautiful. And this is not a read on her. I would never. But I think Jimmy was hoping to be more attracted to her than he was. And she's picking up on it. And he's gaslighting her by not just fucking admitting it. And it's causing this cycle with them where she's in this constant like insecurity state
of doubt.
Yes. And then eventually he will never reassure her, but in the end he will say something to make it worse. Like, you're clingy.
Yeah. Well,
so
in the teaser, no, it's fine. In the teaser for the upcoming episodes, he's sitting next to Jessica and saying that you'll still be my number one. You're still my number one. What a slap in the face to Chelsea after, you pick Chelsea out of everything. And then you're sitting next to Jessica and goes, you're still my number one. Like, this episode hasn't aired yet, guys. They're doing like this teaser for the next couple episodes. And he's like, you're still my number one.
Wait, correct me though. Did he say it? Because I'm not sure. Did he say it, you're still my number one right now? Or was he saying you were still my number one?
He's saying you're still my number one. It was
present. I thought he was saying while they were in the I was mishearing it. Okay.
No.
Well, she can't be his number one because he's engaged.
Yeah, and then I see Chelsea and Trevor talking, and they just have such good chemistry.
We got to talk about Trevor. I know I brought him up earlier, but I didn't get around to the tea. There's drama around Trevor too. Have you heard yet?
No, I saw a little bit, but I refused to believe it, and I kept scrolling because I like him.
Trevor went into the pods with a full-blown girlfriend, and she agreed, allegedly, this is allegedly, and I've seen the text messages that are allegedly between Trevor and this girl that he was dating, like, very seriously, and he was the whole time texting her and being like, it's all for show, like, it's always gonna be you, I can't wait to get back to you. Even in these text messages, it said Chelsea died, but he's not talking about Chelsea the flight attendant, he was talking about his dog Chelsea. Because his dog was named Chelsea, and he gave Chelsea the human, Chelsea's collar as like a sweet little gift in the pods to show he cared or whatever. So all that shit was fake, and I'm pissed off because I really thought Trevor was Chelsea's one. I thought she fucked up with there, and I was like, they're gonna reunite and they're gonna, but no, they're not going to because he's a fake.
Well, damn.
Yeah, all these men this season are trifling. I saw a video of, I think he was from last season, so you might not know him, but Bartice, and he was a...
Yes, I did watch it.
That might have been 2 seasons ago then. I get all of them mixed up, but Bartice is a hot mess in his own right. Everything about Bartice is a hot mess. He came on and made a video on TikTok and was like, Netflix, where you guys at? Like, are you not doing background checks on these men? Like, these men are messy, red flags. You are fucking up left and right. What's going on here? And I'm like, if red flag Bartice is saying it, or Barstool as we used to call him. My God.
Damn.
They did such a bad job this season. Like, there's no chemistry really.
No, the only one is Bartholomew.
Who? Oh, is that Johnny?
Johnny and Amy. Remember them because they're just they're off the drama wall. They're not in the drama wall. So, and now I have to watch the rest of this, and all of them are talking on TikTok, and it's spoiling my shit, man.
Yeah. I do feel bad for Chelsea, though. She's come up on my FYP quite a few times, and she's really tired of people making fun of her for the Megan Fox comparison. And to her credit, she did not ever at any point say, I look like Megan Fox. She actually said, I don't agree with the people who say this, but that is what they tell me. And she said, don't get excited.
She did. And now everybody's using it against her, but you should have never probably mentioned it anyways. You should have never said anything and gave him an inclination because as soon as she had said any inclination of that, his eyes started and mind started designing something in his head to her voice. And when he saw her, not that she's not beautiful, it's just he had something set up in his head and it's totally just yeah.
You are never doing yourself a service if you are a normal, beautiful person comparing yourself to what is a person who would be considered amongst like the top 5 most beautiful people in the world by like a lot of people. You're doing yourself a service. You're always going to be like doing yourself a disservice by doing that. And that's the reason it's a big deal. It's not because she does or doesn't look like Megan Fox. It's because she set too high of an expectation for him, and it was clear that that shifted him toward her, and now they're a disaster.
Mm-hmm.
And if he had popped out of there and said, she does look like Megan Fox, she's the most beautiful woman I've ever seen in my life, we would not be having this conversation. Nobody would have cared.
Apparently, though, he's fire in bed, though.
Apparently his
According to
D
Chelsea.
is fire!
Nobody can bring me down. His D is fire. Oh,
Apparently
God.
it's
I don't
big.
even.
Why is she telling
Ugh.
people that? That's so cringe. Like, don't talk
Because
to the public
she's not
about
learned.
you're telling the public about a man who you just met 5 days ago's penis size. Like, that's crazy.
She was, like I said, she's trying to one up.
She is very insecure in this relationship. At the end of the day, I think some of that's on her, but I think a lot of that is on Jimmy and how Jimmy is treating her and things that we're not necessarily picking up on. I do think he's at fault here. I just think these men this season are trash. Like, I can't.
The only one I like is Johnny.
I feel like I like him, but there's part of me that there's something weird about him too. I don't know what it is
He's
yet.
kind of the way he's like grabbing on her thigh, but he's also kind of silly at the same time. He's listening to her, he's talking to her. He's a little goofy looking, but the goofy looking makes him look more attractive. It's like a face you grow to love. It's a face.
Yeah.
He's not like
He's cute.
he's not. Yeah,
He's cute. I think. I mean, listen. I think everybody on the show is attractive. Like,
Yeah.
are they all my taste? No, but they're all attractive, good-looking people. Which, sort of defeats the purpose of Love Is Blind if you're always going to put people who are like at least a 6 in.
Would it be considered like morally wrong to, sorry, I'm overweight, guys, so don't come at me, to
Me
put like
too.
either a really heavy man or a really heavy woman next to one who's fit and opposites, because that's really what Love Is Blind is about, because all these people have decent bodies and great bodies and they're and but this how is that, how can it be Love Is Blind when they're all pretty much attractive to the general population? We
You
need
know,
to put
They had the plus size girl from one season. I don't remember what season it is. I told you I get them all mixed up. I don't even remember her name. Is it like Alexia or something? Alexa.
oh yeah, and they're
But
pregnant now.
But she was plus size, but she was also like could have been a fucking runway model plus size. Like it's not. She was not like
That's not
me, like
plus size.
a normal looking person who's like a normal looking plus size. You know what I mean?
They don't want that on TV. They don't want normal fat people on TV. They want the plus size version model on
She
TV.
could have gone on Top Model and won.
Yeah.
So
They're
like,
still together, by the way.
I mean, good for them.
Preggers.
I really
Preggers.
like her a lot. I have nothing bad to say about her. I just
Yeah.
think like if that's the only example this show is going to put forth of like a plus size woman or person, it's kind of an unfair representation and still has nothing to do with Love Is Blind. So now you're talking about, okay, but I put somebody with like a 10 and who's got like the exact right proportions to pull off, not all plus size
They need
people
to
have
mix
the
it up a
proportions.
little bit. They need to put some real people on there.
I've seen a couple of like thicker, more average people, like,
but they don't
but
ever
they're
get-
never even featured.
Yeah. I've seen that too. And they'll be in the background and they'll be going to and then they'll never get why.
I don't even see them
Why?
in a confessional. Like, what's their name? I don't know their name. So they must be telling people up front in the pods what they look like. And then they're like, never mind.
You're not supposed to fucking do that, but okay. That's not the point. That is
yeah.
not the point, Allyn.
It's not. I mean, I do think it's fair game to tell them what your race or ethnicity or cultural background is, because I do think that's something, not because it should affect whether you want to marry someone or not, but I think that's something you should know before agreeing to marry someone, is like, what is your family like? You know, what is the culture of your family? Like, what does a holiday look like for you?
Yeah.
Things like that I think matter. Not as far as the appearance go, but as far as just like how that's going to affect your lives and if it's something that's compatible. But like when you start talking about I look like Megan Fox or whatever, you've lost
That
me.
threw every aspect of the show out the window and what it stands for.
I do
when you
think
said
she was
that.
playing dirty. I agree with you. She was playing dirty.
Because she was jealous.
Yeah,
You look at Jessica, you'd be jealous too. Come on.
I
You
am.
you had
Look
such
at her.
a good
She's
connection
amazing.
I know, yeah, but she had such a connection with Trevor. He was all for her. A muscly, meaty mullet man, you know, and they were having great conversation, but she was being fake as fuck towards him because she wanted Jimmy only because Jessica wanted Jimmy.
Yeah, and you can tell that that's a factor because one of the first things that she said to her friends when they were already back into their apartments and they came over to meet Jimmy, one of the first things she said to them was, yeah, he was a hot commodity and I got him. It was definitely an ego thing. It definitely was. Like, you can't
I
convince
wonder
me
how she
otherwise.
feels now. She
I
could have been
mean,
possibly bumping with Trevor, but who knows? Because now, apparently, allegedly, he had a girlfriend this whole time. So,
Trevor, yeah.
yeah.
Do you think that Jimmy and Chelsea are going to say yes?
No.
I think Chelsea will say yes.
Chelsea's desperate.
Yeah. I don't think Jimmy will. Although I was surprised they were even going to make it to the altar. I mean, they showed her in a dress in the preview, but based on the other preview where they keep showing it where she screams at him, I know you fucked her. I know you fucked her. But I don't know if I told you this privately. I think that they're trying to make us think that they're talking about Jess and saying that he fucked Jess, but I believe it's actually going to be about one of those two girlfriends, like his best friends that he went to the restaurant and met with and introduced her to. I think Chelsea's going to find out that she has a history with one of them and get really upset. Because he should have disclosed that if he had. Like, I think as adults...
Yeah, I bet he didn't because she would have blown up on him for no reason, though. Because she...
I think that his fiance has a right to know that she's about to sit down to have drinks with someone that your fiance had sex with. Even if it was
Yeah,
just a
absolutely,
fling.
yeah.
I just think you have the right to know. Like, how she reacts to it is how she reacts to it. But, like, it's, in my opinion, not right to not disclose that and then to, like, take her on national television. It's embarrassing. Like, I would be embarrassed, too, if my now husband did that to me and, like, took me to meet his two best friends and told me everything was innocent and was like, oh, and y'all love each other and it's all being filmed for fucking TV. And then I find out, you didn't tell me, I find out that you used to fuck one of them. I would be humiliated. Like, I should have known that. And I would have probably, been okay with it. But you should have told me. Oh my gosh. Okay, so this is our brand new segment. Ask Allyn and Ash.
I have to, yes. So this is where you can ask us anything. It's completely anonymous. The link is going to be in all of our link trees. It takes you right to the Google form. You can literally tell us anything, ask us anything. We just started, so we only got one response.
That's
and
all right.
I'm gonna read it right now. Okay?
I'm ready. I'm going into this blind. I have no idea what
It's-
you're about to read to me.
Well, I tried not to think about it till I got on here with you so we could discuss it. I was abducted by my aunt at 3 years old. I found my birth mother 5 years ago. Haven't spoken to my abductor in 6 years. How do you forgive the woman that took you from your parents and raised you with such hatred and spite?
Is this real?
Yeah.
I'm not laughing at the situation. I'm laughing at, like, I said I wanted to give unqualified advice, but I could not possibly be more unqualified to give advice on something.
What a terrible thing to do, especially being a family member and taking your sister's child from you at 3 years old and disappearing and raising her as your own. But if this woman treated, I have to think of it both ways. Did she treat you with love? Did she give you love, unconditional love and everything like that before you found this out? Was she good to you? I don't know what the circumstance was to take you away from your parents, but like there's going to be a certain level of hate and despise for her now because of what you know.
So the person writing in wants to know how to forgive the aunt. Am I understanding the question right?
Yeah, she says, how do you forgive the woman that took you from your parents and raised you?
I want to say something about forgiveness. You don't have to. If you don't want to, you don't have to. And forgiveness is not for the other person. So if you feel like you need to forgive this person because it will absolve them and make them feel better, you don't owe them that whatsoever. The only reason to forgive someone is for yourself and for your own peace. So if you need to find forgiveness for your aunt in order to feel peace in your life, then sit with why. Sit with why that would make you feel peace, and maybe you'll find some better answers there. But you absolutely don't have to forgive anyone that you don't want to forgive and that it doesn't benefit you to forgive. That's my advice. Maybe I am qualified.
I'm unqualified too. I can't put myself in this position. I'd feel very angry. I'd feel very upset. But this woman raised you for some reason or another. Something happened. It's not an excuse. But the good news is you found your birth mom. I don't know about your dad. You said your birth mother. So I don't know if something's happened to your dad with that. I'm so sorry. But the good news in this life, you found your mother and you guys can connect now, and life is not over yet. So I'm so happy that you've found your mom and you and your mom have reconnected. And don't know the situation and the circumstance about how not to hate your aunt and forgive your aunt. If she treated you with love and stuff, regardless of what happened, I hope you grew up loved and taken care of. For that, I would say maybe, I'm sure you love her, but to forgive her, I don't think you have to forgive her, like Allyn said. I'm sure you do love her, though. That's a hard thing to talk about. See, this is what I wasn't expecting that.
Me either. That's why I was laughing, not because it was funny, but because I was like, this is so, I had no idea that we were going to get anything like this. But yeah, I think, just think about, before you think about how to forgive someone, think about why you want to forgive them. And if it's to try and make peace for yourself, or if you're trying to forgive her to make peace for her, because that isn't real. Mm-hmm. You can't control other people's peace any more than you can control the fucking weather. You can only control your own peace. So if you're doing it for yourself, be patient, give yourself a lot of time, go to therapy. To therapy. And just allow yourself to be where you are in the process. Don't put pressure on yourself. If you say it's been a year and I still don't feel like I forgive her, that's fucking fine. You are where you are. Peace and forgiveness is for you.
Namaste.
Thank you for writing in with such a massively vulnerable question. And I hope that anything we said helps. But again, therapy.
Yeah, and like I said, I'm glad you found your mom in this lifetime, because
yeah, that's beautiful.
That's something to be forgiving about, is you found your mom and your mom found you, and that could be a Lifetime movie.
It probably is.
Probably is.
Yeah, probably is.
So,
well, if you guys want any more unqualified advice from us, please feel free to hit it up in our link tree. There is I believe, a Google Drive questionnaire.
It just says Ask Allyn and Ash, and you just type in your dilemma or question in there, and it goes right to us. So
it can be anything. It does not have to be as serious as that. It can be silly. It can be anything.
Anything.
You're having trouble making a big life move. You're having trouble deciding what to have for dinner. You know what? Fuck it.
Yes.
Ask us.
We want it all. We need conversation starters.
Variety is the spice of life. Thank you for joining us this week.
Thank you.
Again, we're going to reconvene on the Wendy Williams documentary as soon as we've been able to see that and get together. And we will probably continue this conversation on Love is Blind, since we still have some more episodes to go, including the wedding episodes.
It's not over yet.
Did you? So until next time, tune
in or fuck off.
Allegedly. Yeah. But until then, wear 2 condoms or don't.
I'm supposed to wear 2 condoms.
I never know how to quit this, by the way.
How does it every conversation that we have end up on condoms?
Oh my God, it really does. Because we're disgusting.
Every freaking time it ends up in protection.
Well, we're just not good people. I don't know what to tell you.
That's good people to tell people to protect themselves.
That's true. And spay and neuter your pets.